Good evening, class. How are you today? My name is Hassan. This is my seventh discussion board for Professor Barr's English 112 class. In this discussion board, the professor asked us a total of 3 questions, two of which are on the discussion board, and then one was on the PowerPoint that the professor made on Flannery O'Connor. So the two first discussion board questions are, what is the American South? How do the fugitive agrarians define it? And the second question is, what interpretations do you find most interesting about a good man is hard to find? And how does O'Connor bring forward the theme of salvation for the misfit and the grandmother? And the question that was asked on the uh, PowerPoint was basically relating to a quote by O'Connor, and the professor wanted us to tie the Southern literature to that quote. So, to begin, I'm going to start by, I'm going to start by reading that quote and then trying to relate it to the Southern literature. And that quote goes, "I think it is safe to say that while the South is hardly Christ-centered, it is most certainly Christ-haunted." And I think O'Connor's trying to relate it to the Southern literature, or I'm trying to relate it to the Southern literature by saying that the South was really, and it still is, really based on religion, and it's focusing on the Baptist religion, which is a really conservative side of Christianity. And then you could see the Westboro Baptist Church, not saying that everybody belongs to the Westboro Baptist Church, but it's really hardcore side of the Christianity. And what she's trying to say is that it, the Southern literature are trying to be Christ, bring people towards Christ, but actually they're scaring people away. They're making people scared of the religion rather than being embracing the religion, being happy about it. So that's my way of looking at it. Again, that could be wrong. Moving on, the first question about what is the American South. I believe the American South is um, anything below West Virginia or Virginia. I do believe it's really conservative. It is religious, and at the same time, it's a rich culture. And when I say rich, I don't just mean wealth-wise. It is the because of the agrarians, land being passed down from father to son, and things of that sort. But at the same time, being um, more rich of a culture, as in just the southern hospitality. In addition to that, the even the tongue, the southern tongue, the southern accent, it's more of it's really rich. You try to, everybody pulls the tongue who speaks in the South. It's like a British accent, but at the same time slower and longer. So that's my way of looking at the American South. But then going on to the fugitive agrarians, I think they believe that the South is religious, it is conservative, it is agrarian based, that farming is really strong down there. But at the same time, they believe that it is being attacked by the modernism, by industrialization, by all of these new things coming in, and they want to, preserve it. And they try to write against all I guess I don't know if they're right against modernization, but they try to preserve the South basically. And in doing so, I think that at the end of the day, they believe they've failed. It's done with. You can't help it. I'm gonna move on. I'm reaching my time, so I'm gonna move on to the next question, which is the question about what interpretations do you find most interesting. And I found the interpretation interesting is that the grandmother, being kind of a misfit herself in the beginning of the story, causing all the, she wants to go to Tennessee, so she kind of, and she doesn't want to go to Florida, so she, makes them take a different route. On top of that, she makes them go to the house, which makes them cause the wreck. But the kids kind of insist they want to go too, but at the same time it's her that pointed out the house, and then she's like, oh, the house is in Georgia. So that's she learns her lesson before dying at the end of the story. And then the salvation theme, yeah, the grandmother does find salvation. I believe that because at the end she kind of gets that Holy Spirit type of deal inside her and says, "Hey, you're my son, and you know, you're one of my babies." But I feel at that moment she realized it, but before that she didn't even. Her son got shot, and she knew that she heard two shots. Her son got shot and her grandson got shot. But then her granddaughter and daughter-in-law were sitting next to her while they were dragging them away. She didn't feel, she didn't ask, "Hey, forgive them, take me," but she rather just stood there, sat there. And once her own life came into play, she started crying and, "Mercy and all this and that, you're my son." So I kind of still feel that maybe she didn't find salvation. Maybe it was all an act. And for the misfit, I do believe he did find salvation, but he's just a hardcore man. You can't, maybe you just can't reach him deep enough. But at the same time, he knows that, but he just doesn't believe it. So I hope that answers all my questions. I'm over my time. Thank you for watching.